Nothing in the world is as soft and yielding as water. Yet for dissolving the hard and inflexible, nothing can surpass it. Friends and grasshoppers, this is episode 143 of the Formless Podcast with Tyler the Superhuman and me, Dustin.
Never gets old, the friends and grasshoppers.
I don't know if I'll ever get tired of that. Oh, what's happening, man? What's new? What's good?
It's, like we were talking about, I got a music video that I'm shooting in a couple days. So that's coming up. That's been taking up a lot of my time. And so
now this music video, is it for like an aspiring musical star or is it from your movie? I can't remember. You told me, but I forgot.
So in the movie that I produced, Miracle Mile, we had a score, so original music for a score that was scored for the film, and then we had a soundtrack done. And the soundtrack had mostly pre-existing songs that we got the rights to and then put in the film. One of the songs that's in the credits, like when the screen is black and the white credits are scrolling, there's a song that plays called All These Miles, and it's by a local, well-known DJ radio personality who's on the radio here locally, and kind of like a local celebrity. And so we approached him and we said, hey, we've got some funding and we want to do a music video and we'd like to do it on your song. And he was like, okay, cool, let's do this. So
that's cool, man.
Yeah. So we're filming that in a couple days from this. So by the time this is posted, we'll already be done filming. But his name is Don Burton. And he actually had a part in Miracle Mile, a small part. He was the guitar store salesman in the movie Miracle Mile. Okay. And he goes, "Hi, how can I help you?" and he's like kind of showing off some of the guitars to the Matt character. And so anyways, so we're filming that, and I'm playing the lead guy, and there's a hero and a heroine, like a female hero.
Yeah.
And then Don Burton's character, and he's going to be following my hero character around in the music video, strumming his guitar and singing the song. And it's really cool how they've got, the director's got this whole thing planned out. She's like, I already see how it's going to edit together and everything. And
how cool.
Yeah.
How cool. You know, I was thinking, I watched there's a podcast last year with Robert Rodriguez, the movie director on Joe Rogan. And he was talking about how he makes movies and stuff. But there was another documentary that I watched about an independent film. I can't remember which one, but they were talking about like how they got the funding and then the music stuff and how like each one of these things turns into this problem. Like, especially when you don't have like a big Hollywood budget. You know, we don't have $50 million to make this movie.
Right.
That's a cheap movie nowadays. You know, we've got $1,000, you know, like how are we going to do this? Well, we're going to do a lot of jobs. And then you start adding on to like the music and stuff. The accomplishment that you made of making this movie, getting a score, having a soundtrack, doing all the behind the scenes stuff. Like that is a tremendous, like, holy cow, that's huge. Getting it played in a theater, getting it played in multiple theaters. Like that's a tremendous effort, man. It's really cool.
Thank you. It is very ambitious. Like everything, we swung for the fences on everything. And we're still kind of swinging for the fences. Now we did a music video in January or February on one of the other songs on the soundtrack. And that music video turned out fantastic. So then we're doing another music video on another song, and so it's cool because they're songs from the movie, and they're gonna be, you know, they kind of by being connected to the film, you know, we're hoping to get some real good exposure, and we're gonna go to film festivals with these music videos and see what can happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was very ambitious, very swing for the fences. Like, you know, we've got one shot at this. Like, what are we gonna regret? Like, I was just thinking about that this morning. I was like,
oh, what am I going to regret not
what are we going to regret not doing? Like, yeah, we could cut a corner here while we're filming, or like, or in pre-production, you know, we're in regards to the film. Mm-hmm. What are we going to regret down the road, a year, 2 years, 10 years, and say, man, I should, you know, yeah, that would have taken like a day and a half to get that ready,
or extra money,
or
whatever,
10 hours to prep that, or, you know, okay, now you got to get the right shirt, you got to go shopping a little bit, and like, what will we regret, and where are we cutting corners? And so like, I went into that whole film of like, I'm not like, there's no corners were cut that if we could avoid it. Like, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
And so,
you don't want to chintz out on anything.
No,
just
like
pedal to metal.
Yeah, exactly. Swinging for the fences. And so I think that's, and so I look back on it and I'm like, man, that like, there was, I have like zero regrets on like we did everything the best we could. Like I can literally walk away and be like, we gave it our all. We gave it our all. Yeah. And like, I think we knocked it out of the park. Like, I just think we did on every front. Like, there was no holding back. Like, you know, Bruce Lee says, what's he say in Tao Jeet Kune Do? He's like, when you train 100%.
Yeah.
Like,
don't half-ass it.
Don't half-ass it. You know, he's like, what, you're going to train at like 75, 80% intensity in training. And then like, when you really need it, you're going to expect to go from 75, 80 to 100 and still have accuracy and speed and all that. Like, no, like,
well, yeah. You know, I think about that as like, because fundamentals are important, and we practice fundamentals all the time. And the number one complaint I hear, and I heard it today, they get bored. Okay. So what? You got bored. You get bored a lot.
Yeah.
Big deal.
Get over it.
Like, those fundamentals are fundamentals for a reason. Those are important things. And the sadistic part of me wants to make everyone just throw one punch over and over again, the same punch for the entire class, just like to hammer that topic home.
Right.
But I would get bored. So I change it up. But like, and also I probably wouldn't have much school to be teaching if that was the case, right? If I just bored everyone to tears. But there's something to be said for doing those fundamentals. You know, you got to build a house with a good foundation. You build it from the bottom up. You don't build it from the top down. It don't work that way.
And that's the fundamentals.
But having those fundamentals allows you to swing for the fences. It allows you to do those things where, like, I know that if I, you know, flop on this swing for the fences deal, that I've got my foundation strong. So even if I go out on a limb and teeter and fall, my foundation's strong. So I have something I can go back to. Like, to me, you know, I mean, this isn't, I guess this is the gospel of Dustin here, you know, but you want that strong foundation so we can go out on the limb, risk that stuff. And then, okay, it didn't quite work out just like we wanted it. Oh, I fell down. Okay, great. I got my good foundation here that I can go back to, my baseline, and continue and go out again on that limb if I need to, you know?
And like with the more complex and higher the technique, you know, the more advanced,
the more room for error. So like, yeah, you
might be able to do this like really complex, like block and counter and all that stuff, you know, or instantaneous.
Yeah.
but you get rocked, right? Somebody gets a really good hit on you, and all of a sudden,
blow that, you're gonna get rocked.
You're gonna get rocked, and then you've got to just fall back on the fundamentals. And I know Blaine, our sensei, says that Sensei Court, that that's why he believes the fundamentals are so important, because you get rocked and like your head's spinning, and all you can go back to is like a simple block and counter, right? Like the more advanced,
or just holding your hands up, or over
just
your center
holding
line.
your yeah, exactly. And so the more advanced the technique, man, if you're rocked, you're not going to be able to do that. You're not going to think. So it just goes back to just,
well, it's like
simple stuff.
The simple stuff that makes sense, that works. Yeah. That's a good point. If you're rocked, your vision's blurry, your head's spinning, your ears are ringing.
Might be bleeding from the nose, mouth.
Yeah. That's important stuff. I was just going to ask you a military thing. Like, I know you're not infantry, but you know about infantry.
Infantry adjacent.
Yeah. Okay. So infantry guys, like how much do they shoot when they're training? Like how much do we shoot? Like if I was in the infantry, how many, like, would we, like, it's not once, right? In boot camp, like you're shooting all the time. You're doing all sorts of training.
Hopefully, yes. Depend on the unit, sometimes the unit, whether they have the money to buy ammo and they're organizing that type of training. But yeah, you hope they're doing a lot of live ammo shooting.
Okay. Let's say in a perfect world, money's not the problem. How often are they shooting? Like 100 rounds a week?
Unit dependent. I mean, you would hope so. You'd hope they're shooting every week.
Yeah.
A couple days a week. SF, SEALs, they're shooting
all the time. Yeah.
I mean, SF.
I would imagine though, like front line, the guys that are going to go out first, they probably got to shoot quite a bit.
Yeah, if you're getting deployed,
then
like
you're shooting a lot.
You're shooting a lot. But if you're not like getting deployed, like I think the National Guard, we shot twice a year.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
But in a peacetime situation.
Well, that was during the height of the Iraq and Afghanistan wars. Like even though you're just training for your guard drills,
you're not deployed.
You're not getting deployed, and you're not deployed. I'm just saying, like when you show up for your 1 weekend a month, it was like we would qualify, I think, on our weapons like twice a year.
Yeah, which makes sense.
40 rounds,
but that makes sense because you're not going to battle,
right?
Like it'd be different if like, okay, we're shipping out tomorrow, and you guys got your 40 rounds in, right? Like, yeah, I'm not coming tomorrow. Sorry. Yeah. So you hope, like that's the definition of not prepared.
No. So you would hope that the unit's getting a lot of trigger time. I mean, even when we went to Afghanistan and we were training to go to Afghanistan, like we shot quite a bit, but man, I wish we would have shot more.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if
and then when we were in country, like as far as like training wise, like I'm not talking combat situations. I'm talking just like
there on the off days.
Just there. I can only count probably maybe on like maybe two hands the amount of times we actually just went and trained. Like I can actually only remember a couple of them where we went and trained just to train for that day. And
in country,
like on a range, on a base, like on a firing range, on a base.
Well, I can imagine though that like there's not a lot of time for training. There's like you're supposed to be running ops. There's things happening.
I mean, there's definitely days off, but yeah, you're normally out and you're actually doing the thing. But at least I can only speak for my unit, right? I can't speak for other units. But I know all across the board, other soldiers I've talked to that were in the National Guard or the Army, or the active duty Army or the Army Reserves. They're like, man, I wish we would shoot more.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that at the end of the day, being in the Army with a rifle in your hands, like that's the bread and butter, right? Like what else?
That's what the Army does. Yeah. That's when you picture the Army or the Marines or, the military, guns. And
somebody
troops.
With a rifle in their hands.
Somebody's got a gun.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny you said that. I was listening to I don't know if it was Jocko or not. It was a special forces guy. And he was talking about the respect that he had for the Army, infantry, and the Marines, frontline troops. You know, it was like they went at it. You know, there were some groups that were in the thick of things all the time. Mm-hmm. And he's like, they shot more rounds than I ever did. And I was a special forces guy. You know, I was like in doing ops on a daily basis, but those guys were there all the time. You know, it was pretty interesting. It was an eye-opening experience. You think of like special forces as they're always getting into this stuff. But really. Not the case.
They're very surgical for special ops, right? Like go catch a guy.
That's exactly what he said. Like we had a very, we're like a scalpel, and those other guys are like sledgehammers. Yeah. Like they both do the same thing. It's just the different size hole and a different like method of applying that tool.
Yeah. I mean, just the regular ground pounding grunts, just soldiers on the front lines. Like that's day in and day out.
Yeah.
And
I saw an amazing military movie a couple of weeks back, and I cannot remember the name of it for the life of me. And I want to say it was on Netflix, but I'm not 100% sure. It was in Iraq. It was based on a true story. And the whole movie takes place on like not even a city block. They're on this street. They're looking for a guy. It was a Marine unit. They go into the house where they think the guy is, and he's not there. So they're like holed up in this house. And as they are holding up, like they're trying to plan their next move and get permission to move to the next place, troops start coming in, enemy troops, Taliban starts coming in, and they're like positioning up around the house and positioning themselves and getting ready to like rush this house. And dude, it was intense. It was really good.
Was it called War?
Yes.
It was okay.
Yeah. It was pretty interesting. I don't know, like they said it was based on a true story.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, it was. I was entertained. I was fascinated by it actually, because I could not believe, first of all, some of the stuff that happened. Like, I'm thinking, get out of that house. Like, move. I'll take the risk of getting shot before more people show up. And they like kept coming. It was just bananas. I would not make a good soldier. I'm pretty confident at that. But, and the other thing is like the entire movie revolved around this one, like basically a day, this thing that happened, at one location. It was pretty interesting the way that worked out, like as a movie. Normally a movie has multiple scenes, multiple locations. The story takes place over a period of time and places. Like this took place in a place for the most part. Like
one location.
They're at the beginning of the movie, they're at their base, and then they travel to this house on this, like they go down the street, they get into the house, and that's where they're at for the rest of the movie. It's pretty wild. It's not like it's not like Saving Private Ryan where it's constant action like the first 20 minutes. It's more like this slow buildup and then bang, and then it's over. It's kind of weird. It's been a little while, so I might have to go back and rewatch it.
That's on Netflix?
I think it's on Netflix. It's called War, though. You were right.
I'm gonna have to watch that. I remember when it came out in theaters, they were like, "Yeah, this is like the most like realistic depiction of war, ever." And
I don't know. I mean, in a couple of things, like in its absurdity, right? Like they get wounded, a couple guys get hurt, and they're calling for backup. They're calling for like a medevac, and they're getting denied. Like, oh, it's too hot right now. We can't send the chopper in. Isn't that what like they're supposed to do? You know what I mean? Like, or it's just like one absurdity thing after another. So I guess like in that aspect, it's real. Like, I don't want to spoil the movie for you, but is it a Stryker? What's the armored vehicles that they evacuate people with?
I mean, it's probably a Stryker.
I think it's called a Stryker. Anyway,
113,
like
maybe.
they back two of them up, like next to the front door, and one of them gets blown up, and just in the most bizarre way. Like the guy basically walks out into the street and fires an RPG. Like nobody shot him. Like nobody saw him. Nobody, you know what I mean? Like it was just weird stuff like that happens. So I don't know where I went off on that. I don't know where we got off onto that. But
no, that's good.
It's good. It was entertaining. It was good. Eye-opening for me. I don't remember what we were talking about that led up to that.
I don't remember either.
Oh gosh, I got off.
Nice
on a
tangent.
Yeah, my bad. Well, we were talking about fundamentals. We were talking about water.
Yeah, well,
the fundamental stuff.
It's fundamentals. We just think about the fundamental. You think of somebody in the military that just has a rifle in their hands, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, there's so much more to it, right? You've got so many other jobs. But like at the end of the day, like they say in the Army, when you go to boot camp, right, for 10 weeks, your basic training, when it's not really called boot camp, it's basic training. But that means that every person in the Army is qualified as a rifleman. Like that, yeah, you might go to basic training for 10 weeks and then go on to be a water treatment specialist or an infantryman
or a
medic
cook,
or a line cook,
but you had to learn how to shoot a gun and do the basic infantry stuff first.
Yes. I mean, very basic. Yes. And so that's why it's called basic training.
Yeah.
And so everybody can fall back on being a rifleman. And so
which makes sense.
Like you should be able to load an M4 and open fire at the enemy. And so that's kind of like when you think about fundamentals, you think like, okay, like that's the thing you can always fall back on. Like, I mean, there was one time one of our, not my platoon, but another platoon, which I had friends in, a platoon of our company, they were at some FOB, forward operating base, and they're our route, or like a route clearance platoon in our company.
Okay, I'm going to ask a bunch of dumb questions. What's a route clearing platoon?
Route clearance. So route clearance, that's what our company did in Afghanistan, is we had specialized equipment, specialized vehicles, and we drove up and down the roads looking for IEDs, the bombs in the road. We were bomb hunters, essentially. Yeah. And so one of the other platoons in our company, they ended up at some FOB, right? So like you're driving down these roads in Afghanistan, and then our leadership has a map saying, oh, there's a FOB, a forward operating base, up 5 miles up here. It's getting dark. We're gonna pull into that base, and that's where we're gonna sleep. And we know it's gonna be safe there, somewhat safe,
as opposed to like just on the open road.
Just on the open road, circling the wagons, and all guns pointed out, all weapons pointed out, like, and so. So one of our other platoons, we did that all the time. You just stay out in the middle of nowhere, and all weapons pointed out, and you have a watch.
No kidding.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And you have the vehicles are literally circled up. Like,
you're sleeping in the middle.
No, you're sleeping in your vehicle, like in your chair sitting up, or in the back of the vehicle, or maybe sometimes you would put a cot outside and sleep outside. If we did that once in a while, but you had your weapon right next to you, right next
stuff happens. Yeah.
And so, but anyways, one of our platoons, they pulled over into some FOB, and they were there for a while to rest and refuel and do whatever. Well, that FOB came under attack, and there were so many Taliban terrorist fighters, whatever they were, Al Qaeda, who knows. There's different terrorist groups, and some terrorists are aligned with multiple groups, and some are only in one group. It's not just like there's Taliban. It's like
they're multifaceted.
Oh yeah, it's very diverse, multifaceted. So one of our sister platoons, so that FOB came under attack, and so they're all like, there was like. It was so bad that the cooks were with their weapons on the walls of the FOB.
Every single person was shooting.
They were like, everybody to the walls, like everybody to the walls. And like, they were just all lined up on the walls. And one or two guys, they had even this is 2009. So they had the early helmet cams. Like they weren't very good, but they were still pretty good.
Better than nothing.
Yeah. It's better than nothing. Nothing like now, what we have nowadays, but they still had something. And so like, yeah, I mean, it is like, they're like, get ammo up here, and then like bah, 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 and they have machine guns, and like you just see like they're looking down the lines. And
you've seen this video?
Yeah, I've seen that footage. Yeah, and I mean, I think some of the people were caught so off guard that some of the people didn't even have time to just throw on like their uniforms. Like they were in their PT uniforms, so like a shirt and shorts, threw on their helmet and threw on their body armor. Like they were not in their fatigues.
They were not ready to go.
They were not in their fatigues, right?
Wow.
They didn't have, and so like they didn't have boots on. I think some of the people had like their shower shoe flip-flops. Like, you know how you you wear to the beach, like flip-flops. Like, well, you wear those in army showers to keep your feet from getting infections. And so like from all the showers and everybody using the showers constantly, and they're not always clean. And so you wear those. Well, some of those people, I think, were in flip-flops on the wall shooting back at the enemy. And so, but yeah, so they were talking about like everybody on the walls, and it was just like the four corners of the walls, everyone was just shooting out.
They were surrounded.
I want to say they were surrounded, and the enemy in that one wasn't, they weren't real close. I want to say they were like 300 to 400 yards out, but still 300 to 400 yards out. And the enemy
with a rifle.
Yeah, with a rifle. I mean, that's for an AK-47. That's no problem for them. And then we had the M4s.
Yeah.
5.56 versus the 7.62 by 3.9 rounds with the AKs. So, anyways, yeah. So I was not there for that one, but I did see the footage of that one.
That must have been wild.
Yeah. I mean, we had similar we had similar things, but nothing that was, I can remember,
not where you
recorded.
Had to like get we're being recorded.
Well, I mean, there was similar things that happened to us, but just there wasn't a helmet cam footage.
There wasn't video footage.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there was like at one time in the footage, like they're spreading out on the walls, and like you can see in the footage, and the guys are spreading out because you don't want to group up, right? Like one RPG hits and takes out a couple guys, so you want to spread out. Well, like they're yelling at each other and saying, "Oh, enemy this way, this far, this how many enemy, and this is what they look like." It's called distance, direction, and description. You yell out the distance. They're enemy at 2:00, 50 meters, in a vehicle, right? And so you 3 in a vehicle. And so you give distance, direction, and description, the 3 Ds. And so they're like yelling, and then all of a sudden you see this kaboom right next to the guy with the helmet cam, and you turn over, and like an RPG had hit between him and the next guy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so like, that's pretty intense.
Wild.
Yeah. The type of stuff you love and you have fun when you're in your early to mid 20s and you're just reckless and you love it, you know, like,
speaking of that, I watched a video. This one I know Jocko shared because it was a friend of his. This was like 2007, 2008. They're on top of a building. They get into a big gunfight, and one of his one of the lower ranking guys starts taking cell phone footage, right? Well, this gunfight went on for so long, he ran out of ammo. And so he was like, I'm just laying here. There's nothing I can do. So he just started taking like selfies and videoing what was going on. And he was getting in trouble because like, why aren't you shooting? Right? Why aren't you doing something?
Give me some ammo. I'll shoot back.
Yeah. And he's like, I was out and I was pinned down. Like I couldn't move. If I would have got up, they would have shot me. So what else am I going to do? Essentially.
That's funny.
Yeah. That's wild though, man.
Yeah. So,
I'm speaking from a completely layman's point of view. Like somebody who has no military experience. When I think of like the National Guard, when I think of the Coast Guard, when I think of stuff like that, you think those guys are relatively safe. They're out of harm's way for the most part.
That's what you think.
That's what you think, right? And I thought that way all the way up until I met somebody in the Coast Guard and I met you in the National Guard. And like, no, there's stuff happening that you see. Coast Guard people, they go after like drug smugglers. They go after wrecked ships. They do things. There's constant activity, stuff happening. And, you know, you see things, you do things. It's not just, it's not, what's the Bill Murray movie? Stripes.
Right.
Yeah. Like that's my naive version of that's what it was. Cause I saw Stripes and I'm like, oh wow, those guys just look like they have fun all the time. You know, they're not doing the war stuff. Right. But no, that does happen. I had a friend who was in Iraq in 2006, 2005, maybe. And he joined the military and he was a mechanic. And I assumed that like he never left the base. And he went from base to base. He worked on heavy equipment and vehicles and tanks and Humvees and all that stuff. But he's like, he was on leave and he came over and we were catching up and I haven't spoke to him and it's going to be more than 20 years. I haven't spoke to him. No, almost. Last time I saw him was like before that. It was before 2006. Because I was still... Okay, anyway. I didn't have any kids. I'm doing the math. I'm trying to do the math. Anyway, he was telling me, and it was really eye-opening to me at the time, he was not allowed to leave his cot, his tent, without a rifle and all of his gear. So he would wake up in the morning, get ready to go, grab all of his stuff, and walk the 50 yards, the 30 yards to the garage, work on stuff. And then when he was done, if nothing else happened, walk back to the cot at the end of the day, you know, do his thing. But like everywhere he went, he had to be full suit. And at the time...
It's called full battle rattle.
Okay.
Where you have all your gear on.
Yeah. But he wasn't a frontline troop. And I was like, you know, just my own inexperience, not realizing like, yeah, you're in a war zone. That makes sense now to me now that I'm aware of things. But at the time I was just kind of shocked by that. And he's like, he went on to tell me that like the base, there was like 6 months or so where the base that he was at averaged 2 rocket attacks a day.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yep. Like, oh, they're coming in again. Run for the bunkers. Okay. Yeah. The towers are returning fire. Okay. Like,
it's crazy.
You just kind of get desensitized.
Well,
to it.
Yeah. It becomes your normal. It becomes your normal. That's wild. That's wild.
So the fundamentals of being a rifleman.
Yeah. Sorry. I keep getting sidetracked.
No.
Just like anything else, like you have to learn how to swim, right? You can't start doing all the fancy strokes if you don't know how to, the fundamentals of swimming.
Right. You just got it. It all goes back to the basics.
Oh. On another topic, so Hunter's really good in math, like phenomenal,
fantastic,
like phenomenal in math. He tutors calculus, chemistry. He's taking a whole bunch of units. I don't even remember, but he does calculus and he's taking a physics class. And it's funny to see him. He's pretty straight-laced. Like if you are his boss or you're his teacher and you give him a syllabus, like he knows that. Like he's going to take that to heart. and be like, hey, on page 3, paragraph 4 of your syllabus, you said by week 6 we would be doing, linear equations, and we haven't hit that yet. Did you alter the syllabus, or are you planning on getting there? Like that kind of thing. Like he's very much like by the rules, by the book.
By the book.
And he loves calculus and all of that stuff. Physics get a little weird for him because he's like, there's formula. I go, well, isn't it just like another like higher level of math? And he's like, yeah, but it's like more theory. There's less. And I think I'm going to bring this up to him because I think I finally understand. There's less foundational things. There's more like up here in the.
Like there's more certainty.
There's less certainty.
I mean, there's
physics,
less certainty.
Less certainty in physics, at least for him and where he's at right now. And it may be the influence of his teacher, because like the teacher will go off on a tangent and talk, and then it's a 3-hour lecture class and then a lab. And the lab's supposed to coordinate with the lecture, but sometimes the lecture is not even closely related, according to my son. And so he's struggling with that. But like the calculus stuff, he likes because it's all based off of the stuff that you learned in the previous class. And like math is math, according to him, right? Like it doesn't change. It's 1 + 1 is 2.
Always, always and forever. Yeah.
Unless something else changes, unless you add something or take something away, it's still the same. And they apply. The rules apply. The foundation is the foundation for a reason. I think we talked that one out, and I keep going off on military stories because I don't have any, and I find them super fascinating. So I apologize.
Yeah. And that's, man, being even in like martial arts, right? Like it all comes down to like being flexible, right? You got to be flexible. And like, I know a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, but I know a few that, so like you always want 1 + 1 to equal 2, right? And that's good in that world, right? In that world.
Yeah.
Outside of that, sometimes I've noticed those people, when there's less certainty, it can be a challenge to be flexible. You know what I'm saying? Because like when things change, just like the military environment, things are always changing. It's a very dynamic environment. Very fluid. Yeah. And so like, I know like that was an adjustment I had to make. Whereas, you have the things that you expect to be the same all the time. And sometimes they're the same and sometimes they're not, right? Sometimes. And so I don't know if that's making sense. Like, but there's just like that type of thinking is really good, right? Obviously for math and for all that, because you got to have that. You got to have those. And sometimes those, like in those environments, like you're saying, like in the war movie, right? They're calling for a medevac, but the medevac's like, well, we can't come. And you're like, but like, what's the point of like
having the medevac?
Of having the medevac. And so a lot of times the people I've met, they'll think like, well, if I call for a medevac, it should come. But there's so many other factors that influence that. And
so many other pieces at play.
Pieces that come into play, right? Yeah. Like in a perfect world, I call a medevac, they show up and evacuated the wounded person, but that's not always the case. I mean, we just had all kinds of things like that happen too, where, the weather might be according to like the aviation units, the weather is, I think what it was called, it was, the weather is, it's black, meaning no helicopters, no planes went out. Like,
cause like they're going to lose planes. Or
they're going to, so like, yeah, you should have air support all the time.
But you ain't getting it today, baby.
But you ain't getting it today because the skies are black. And you're like, but like, we should have it. And it's just like, sometimes you just got to be really, you got to be flexible and you just got to.
Well, and it never could happen fast enough.
Nah, right.
When you need it.
Yeah.
Right. When there's an emergency, and things are urgent, it'll never be fast enough.
No. Yeah. So, but then like, then you get, I like to think of like classroom environments like here, like we have in the dojo, and then classroom environments like when Hunter does, his math and calculus and all that. You got to have those like protected environments where you learn, and the 1 + 1 always equals 2 in the, in those instances.
Yeah.
And then here in the dojo, you got the always like, well, here we throw a perfect punch, and this is how you block a perfect punch. Right.
But that's not going to happen in real world.
On the real world, on the street, somebody might throw something between a front punch and a round punch, something like a haymaker type punch, and you're like, "Ooh, that's not a front punch, but it's not a round; it's somewhere in the middle." Like,
yeah.
And it's like all about being flexible on the go.
It's funny. Wednesday night class. My kids have been going. You've been showing up to the Wednesday night class lately. That's a mix. I haven't been in a while. To
mix.
That one. Yeah, it's a mix of beginners and advanced students. When you do like some of the more relaxed stuff, have you experienced this where you're doing like not the super hard stuff where like we're hitting stuff as hard as we can or kicking stuff as hard as we can, but more of like where your heart rate's not elevated. You're just doing like simple Wing Chun, like either Pak Sao or Chi Sao, sticky hands, stuff like that, where you're supposed to be in a relaxed setting. And then you get people that aren't experienced in that, and they start like tensing up, and they get like they're trying to force the round peg in the square hole, right? Yeah. I find that when I don't have that foundational base, that's when things get tense, right? Like you want to have a good foundation so you can remain calm when it gets intense or gets hairy, right? Like the first time you sparred, right? I always worry about this when I have big classes and I got beginner mixed group. I try and like ease them in to that because like you never know. I got to tell this story. When I was like 12 years old, when I was first learning martial arts down at Anderson City Hall with Sensei Blue, had this new student come in, and we were sparring. Like there was a period of time there where it seemed like every class we were sparring, at least for part of the class, which is good. But I've only been there 6 months or so. I understand how the routine goes. I understand how the structure and how it works. So I feel a little more comfortable. I'm by no means an expert at this point, just feeling like I know the routine. We get this new kid in, and he's a little bit smaller than me. And it's like, it's first, maybe second class, and we're sparring. And there's a ton of people. And so I've got my mouth guard, I've got all geared up, we're ready to go, and we're sparring. And I'm partnered up with this kid, and he's standing like he's shooting a bow, right? He's got his lead arms way out here, and his right hand is cocked back by his head, right? Now I'm all of about 12 years old, and I'm finding this to be hilarious.
Yeah.
So we're sparring, and I'm hitting and kicking. I'm not like socking him. I'm not hitting him hard, but I'm just tapping him, tip tap, and knocking his left hand that's straight out, pointed at my face like this. And I'm just like brushing it off to the side, and I'll throw a couple of punches. I get in, brush it off to the side, throw a kick. And this arm that's back here by his head is like circling and like pumping back and forth kind of thing.
It's kind of ready to strike.
Yeah. Right. And this kid's just biding his time. Now, at this point, I haven't hit him or hard at all. Just tip tap, tip tap, tip tap. I don't know what happens. I don't know if I looked away or something, but my eye left that right hand for that long. And that thing come out of the blue and hit me square, dead center in the face, right in the nose. Knocked my head back and knocked my mouth guard off. He drills me in the face. 2 big old black eyes the next morning. I look like a raccoon.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, just wham.
Okay.
But like the example that I was trying to make of that story, like, you know, the idea is to be relaxed and calm so we can function, so we can think, so we can see things happening. If we're calm when everybody else is elevated and tense, we can make rational decisions. If we're so tensed up that like, I can't move. Now, had I been hitting him for all I was worth at the beginning of this sparring match, he would have never got that shot off, right? Hopefully. Because I'd have been kicking him in the groin and punching him in the head, you know, like hitting him hard. That would have never happened. Or he would have launched that punch a lot sooner, right? This was like the whole course of the sparring match. He's not hitting me. He's not hitting me. He's not hitting me until I finally get distracted and bang. But yeah, I haven't told that story in a long time.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I saw him again after that. At least not that I remember. But yeah. It's a good one.
I'm learning from that one. That's like, keep your eye on the fist.
Well, you know,
or on the dragon, but also
that I flash back to that every time we have new students spar. Like every single time now, I'm like, because there's no familiarity, right? Like you're a brand new student, we're gonna spar. Who's like, try and ease them into it and try and get them comfortable, but you never know how somebody's going to react. And just trying to get them like, okay, listen, this isn't a fight to the death. This isn't blood sport. We're just practicing. My goal is to make you better. And in turn, you should be trying to help make me better, you know, and trying to get them to understand that. And then every one of them, without a doubt, 100% of the time, nod their head in the affirmative. Yep. Okay. Sure thing. I understand. And then every once in a while, I'll get one of them outliers that are just swinging for the fences and trying to take your head off. And it's because they're in a panic mode, right? They don't have a foundation. Their foundation is quicksand right now. Which, okay, it's understandable. We don't know each other. We don't have any of that familiarity. We don't have any trust yet. So it's like, tread lightly, my friends.
I was at Old City Hall, Anderson Old City Hall, and they would have us just circle up.
Yep.
I remember that. Like for the 2 or 3 months I went. And I remember every time we'd circle up, it wasn't every class they did sparring. It only seemed like it was every third class, at least when I was going.
Yeah.
And I remember they'd be like, all right, circle up. All right, more advanced students, get your sparring gear on. And I was like, oh, good. I don't have to spar. Like,
oh, really?
Yeah. I don't know if I ever sparred, or maybe I went out there and sparred once, maybe. But I remember I was terrified of going out there in the middle of the circle and everyone is watching you. And
yeah.
And I was just terrified.
Sparring's really, as a kid, I did not like it. And we had a couple of kids in the class when I first started, and thankfully, because I think it would have turned out differently for me. But thankfully he quit shortly after. I think he got caught. But what he would do is he would go headhunt. He'd like go find people that he knew he could beat up on, and then just sock the crap out of them. Like when nobody's watching, you're like, hey, and he'd go grab a new student and be like, hey, let me help you out. I'll make sure you understand what's happening. And then as soon as things went, man, bang, he's just drilling these kids.
This is the same guy that punched you.
No, this is an entirely different kid. He was just like a year or two older than me in school. And I think my personal feeling is that he was probably bullied and beat up on. And so like this was Mondays and Wednesday nights were like his chance to get back on what happened on Tuesdays and Thursdays, you know?
I wonder how those guys, the guy that hit you that was standing like he's shooting a bow, and then that guy, I wonder how they, I wonder what they look like now. Like, are they huge and overweight, or are they like,
who knows?
Skinny?
The kid that drilled me was actually a really nice guy from what I can recall, what I can remember. But I did take a hit to the head. So, my memory could be a little faded there, but, he was like a super nice kid, very quiet, very soft spoken. I think nervous. I think it was a combination of being really nervous and scared, and then having this adrenaline dump of like not knowing what's going to happen. And then all of a sudden things happen. And again, this is all my recollection. I don't recall like hitting him hard. Like I said, tap, tap. But maybe, I'm 12. Maybe I did hit him hard. I don't know. But all I know is that dude drilled me the minute he got the chance.
Blow! You just got...
Yeah, it was good times. It was good times.
I've learned from listening to that story, like, keep your eye on that fist. At least on the dragon, but your peripheral vision. Well,
somebody's like got it cocked up here, ready to go. Like you might want to, you don't want to keep all your eyes on it, but you might want to keep an eye on it. Keep aware of this thing, it was good times. It was good times. Yeah, I don't, that's about as exciting as it gets for me, which is all right. Well, what do you think? What else? Anything else? I think we beat that. I think we got that topic down there. Yeah. Okay. Hey, friends. Thanks for listening. You got any comments, questions, concerns for my mental health? You can reach out on any of the social media platforms that we're on. They all can be found at the Formless Pod. We have an email address called theformlesspod@gmail.com. We have a website called, you guessed it, The Formless Pod, where you can find pictures of us, more podcast stuff, things to buy, shirts, hats, swag, all that. Anywhere we could slap a logo, we got it there, baby. So check it out. Support us and help us make further endeavors into the podcast world there. And until next time, build your foundation strong. Take care, friends.